Have you ever been this guy? Just an average Joe trying to get through life when suddenly a nerd with a bladder problem comes up and punches you in the back of the head? Well, what about this guy? Trying to woo all the women you meet, but the only one who will fall for you is that very same nerd? Or how about this? Have you ever been walking to class when suddenly a nerd walks up and, "Oh, come on, Algie, get out of here, we don't want you." If you've answered yes to any of these questions, then Bully Scholarship Edition is for you. Heck, if you answered no to the questions, it's still for you, and here's why. Bully is a single-player adventure game that released in October of 2006, but we will be going over the updated Scholarship Edition of the game, which came out 2 years later. I'll try to go over the core differences as we go along. You play as Jimmy Hopkins, a 15-year-old boy who has, in his own words, been expelled from anywhere half decent, and thus is forced to come to Bulworth Academy, while his mother and what seems to be one of his many stepfathers go on their year-long honeymoon. Upon his entrance to Bulworth, Jimmy is befriended by Gary, a sociopathic student who tends to see himself better than everybody else. Gary wants to take over the school. Gary wants he and Jimmy to take over the school together. He starts this by showing Jimmy the ropes, going over the cliques you meet, some of the teachers, but, minor spoiler alert, pretty quickly into the game, Gary betrays Jimmy and turns the entire school against him. Bully is about Jimmy's struggles as he tries to gain back the respect of each clique, all while slowly getting back to Gary. Bulworth is an interesting school to say the least. You have students that cover all of the cliches. Jocks are roided out with all brawn and no brain. Preps are condescending literal inbreds. Nerds, my favorites, are wimpy library dwellers who are constantly going on about gremlins and grottos. And then you also have the teachers, who aren't much better in terms of their problems. The English teacher is a drunk, the gym teacher is a pervert, and the math teacher is a jerk. But hey, they all add to the character that Bulworth has. Bully allows for you to make Jimmy act however you wish in terms of the gameplay. If you want him to bully everyone he sees, pushing down little kids, stuffing teachers into lockers, and the like, you can do so. It tends to revolve around a pretty basic fight system, as well as some items that can help with those fights. So you run around, punch some guys, run around, punch more guys, and use the occasional item or two. My personal favorite item is the bag of marbles. Ah, sweet justice. Progressing through the game goes by chapter, each one being a different clique to take down. Once you have taken a clique down completely, they will no longer try to start things with you in the halls and will actually be pretty friendly, often offering some kind of new item or upgrade. Now, while you're at Bulworth, Jimmy can go to a variety of classes where if he is given a passing grade, a bonus is unlocked to help him out during the missions. This can be anywhere from kissing girls to give yourself a health increase, gaining new fighting abilities, even make some of the items like firecrackers or stink bombs available for Jimmy in his dorm. This brings up one of the differences of the Scholarship Edition, as you have 4 new classes to attend, all with their respective bonuses. This is especially helpful for you completionists out there, as every rank of the geography class you pass will show a new set of collectibles on your map. I'd also like to take a short moment to go over the differences of Scholarship Edition. The game was updated graphically, fixed many bugs, and added many new missions, unlockable items, and pieces of clothing that Jimmy can wear. There are numerous collectibles in Bully. These are all completely optional, but they can definitely be worth getting. For example, collecting all the rubber bands around town and in Bulworth will unlock the rubber band ball, arguably the most powerful weapon in the game, which can clear out an entire room in seconds. Now, once you finish the main story of the game, you unlock a chapter called Endless Summer, where you can go around and finish any remaining optional story missions, compete in bike and go-kart races, and really just do anything that you hadn't done before. As you may have guessed, the chapter is endless, and is really just an open world for you to go and play Bully. I really wish more games would do this kind of thing, because it's always sad to finish an open world game without the option of going back into said world. Usually there's many different optional activities to finish, and sometimes you just want to go back and play. Bully has a couple of flaws that come to mind. Our protagonist Jimmy claims to have been expelled from so many different schools, but Bully represents him as a kid who, in his own words, just gives people what's coming to them. And that really is true. He's not a bad or dumb person. You can choose to make him bully people, but depending on the extent, it can honestly feel out of character. You help others stop being bullied, and overall make Bulworth a better place by the end of it. So really, Jimmy is just a peacekeeper. It just feels so wrong to portray him as this awful person who gets expelled from lots of different schools, when really the things he's been expelled for in the past, such as insubordination, vandalism, and a couple other things, don't actually feel like something Jimmy would do. Another issue I have is that it seems not a single person in the school likes Gary, and yet every single one of those people seem to believe everything he says like it's the word of God. No, Russell, Jimmy did not say anything nasty about the barnyard animals. And no, Tad, Jimmy did not say that you were inbred, even though you are. Why do you all believe these obvious lies and instantly resort to violence against Jimmy, who, as you just saw, took down an entire group of people with his bare hands? And one last small complaint really just comes down to the fact that Bully tends to be too easy throughout most of the game, but can have an occasional mission that ramps up the difficulty to well over twice as much. So overall, the gameplay of Bully is decent for its time, nothing particularly groundbreaking, but the real reason you'll want to play it is for Bulworth's characters and their interactions they have with each other. The game also has a very good sense of humor that tends to go farther than I expect from a rated T game, but it's surprises like those that tend to make the game more enjoyable. I've played it many times and will probably do so more in the future. I'd personally give Bully 4 nerds with bladder issues,
I really need some help!
out of 5. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching the video. If you have any suggestions on how I could improve, let me know in the comments below. Also make sure to like the video if you enjoyed and subscribe as it really will help me out. Thanks again and have a wonderful rest of your day.